Next we will see combination of resistors or grouping of resistors. Combination or grouping, same meaning. Resistors can be combined or grouped by two types. First one, series combination. Second one, parallel combination. Series combination of resistors or parallel combination of resistors. So what is series combination of resistor? So we can take at least two resistors we needed. The two resistors are connected in a row, means next to next, like this. Let me explain the series combination. One resistor, second resistor, third resistor. Name it R1, R2, R3. These resistors are connected to a battery. Number of cells which are connected in a series is called battery. Plus, minus, plus, minus, plus, minus. It's a battery. It's a plug key. Resistance which opposes the flow of potential or charge. That means this resistor R1 offers some resistance to oppose the flow of potential or to oppose the flow of charge. That's why some potential drop will occur at R1. Remaining charge will go to the R2. Here also potential drop occurs. Next, the remaining will pass to through this R3, and here also one potential difference occurs. So potential drop occurs at each and every resistor. What is the reason? Because it is stopping the flow of charge. This is stopping the flow of charge or opposing the flow of charge causes to the potential drop at each and every resistor. That's why it is better to connect an voltmeter across the ends of each resistor. Voltmeter always finds the potential difference across the ends of a given material, or if it is visible like this also, we can write like this also. Yes, here V1 and here V2 and here V3. You can remove this connection. If it is not visible clearly, you can remove the top connection, no problem. This means I am not giving the connection at the inner part of the circuit. To observe these voltmeters, I have given the connection like this. So potential drop will occur at each and every resistor. The potential applied to the whole circuit is V. Potential applied to the whole circuit is equal to V. This V we can write as a sum of potential drops at each resistors. Therefore, V is equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3. One thing we should know that in series combination of resistors, V is variable but I is constant. In series combination, of resistors, V is variable and I is constant. Therefore, this V is equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3 is equal to, let us take equation 1 or 2. We can write it as 1. So, what is Ohm's law? According to Ohm's law, V is equal to IR. So, according to Ohm's law, V is equal to IR. Try to apply this V is equal to IR in the equation 1. Therefore, IR is equal to IR1 plus IR2 plus IR3. We can think like this also. Current passing through the resistance R1 is equal to I1, through R2 is equal to I2, through R3 is equal to I3. But what is the rule? V is variable, but I is constant. That means I1 is equal to I2 is equal to I3 is equal to I. I is not changing. So, what is the remaining part? Listen carefully. So, IR is equal to IR1 plus IR2 plus IR3. IR is equal to I of R1 plus R2 plus R3. I and I get cancelled. Therefore, RS is equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3. What is this RS? Effective resistance in the series combination. Effective resistance in series combination. What is the rule? What is the conclusion by this experiment? The effective resistance in the series combination is equal to the sum of individual resistances. The effective resistance of series combination is equal to the sum of individual resistances. Suppose if n resistors are exist in the combination, we can write Rs is equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3 and so on Rn. Next we will see what are the things we can observe in the series combinations. Next we will see some observations in series combination. Observations in series combination of resistors. What is the first observation? Effective resistance is sum of individual resistors. Second one, V is variable but I is constant. Third one, which is very important, the effective resistance in the series combination of resistors is always greater than the greatest individual resistor. The effective resistance in series combination is always greater than greater than the greatest individual resistance. What is the meaning of this big statement? The meaning will be simple. See, I am taking some two examples. From these two examples we can understand. Let us take R1 is equal to some 6 ohms, R2 is equal to some 4 ohms, R3 is equal to some 10 ohms. I have grouped these three resistors in series combination. Therefore, Rs is equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3. The value is 6 plus 4 plus 10 ohms, nothing but 20 ohms. This 20 ohms is called effective resistance of the series combination. See, the effective resistance in the series combination in this example is nothing but the 20 ohms is always greater than the greatest individual resistor. What is the greatest individual resistor? 10. Greatest individual resistance means which is the greater value among the resistances taken. This 10 ohms is the greatest value among the all resistances we are involved in the combination. So this 20 ohms is always greater than the 10 ohms. That's why effective resistance is always greater than the greatest individual resistance in the combination. We will see one more example. Some R1 is equal to 2 ohms, R2 is equal to 4 ohms, some R3 is equal to 5 ohms. Again Rs is equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3, 2 plus 4 plus 5 ohms, 11 ohms. Here also we can say that effective resistance is always greater than the greatest individual resistance. What is the greatest individual resistance in the combination? 5. Next we will see the parallel combination of resistors. Parallel combination means all first terminals are connected to the common potential, all second terminals of the resistance connected to the common terminal, like this. These are all first ends. These are all second ends. All these first ends are common to the positive potential of the battery. All the second terminals are common or grouped to the negative potential of the battery. These are all the first ends, these are all the second ends. We can say it as R1, R2. All terminals are connected to the positive here and all terminals are connected to the negative here. All first are connected to the positive, all second are connected to the negative. All first terminals are connected to the positives like this. All second terminals are connected to the negative like this. Because of all terminals are connected to the common potential, that means there will be no potential difference. That is an important point we can observe. Means in parallel combination, V is constant, but I is variable. Why V is constant? It is grouped to the common potentials. That's it. So we can write I is equal to I1 plus I2 plus I3. According to Ohm's law, I is equal to V by R. Now I am substituting this I is equal to V by R in this first equation. Let us write this is a second equation. So substitute V by R is equal to V by R1 plus V by R2 plus V by R3. We can take V by R is equal to V as common, that means 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3 into V. This V and V get cancelled. So we can write 1 by R is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3. We can write it this as 1 by Rp. If these are n resistors, for n resistors, 1 by Rp is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3 plus and so on 1 by Rn. Now we will see the observations in the parallel combination of resistors. So what is the rule or statement to find out the effective resistance in the parallel combination? See the equation, that is 1 by Rp is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3 and so on 1 by Rn for n resistors. See, what is the rule? The reciprocal of the effective resistance in parallel combination, I am saying 1 by Rp, reciprocal of effective resistance in parallel combination is equal to sum of reciprocals of individual resistances. The reciprocal of effective resistance in parallel combination of resistors is equal to the sum of reciprocals of individual resistances. Means we will get the reciprocal of the effective. Means suppose if R1 and R2 are given, 1 by Rp is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. How to find out the Rp from this? Take an LCM R1 R2, on the top we will get R2 plus R1 is equal to 1 by Rp. Reciprocate. Therefore Rp is equal to R1 R2 by R1 plus R2. If it is 3 resistors, R1 R2 R3 by R1 plus R2 plus R3. Not like that. R1 R2 plus R2 R3 plus R3 R1 by R1 plus R2 plus R3. So like that we can get. Suppose if 3 resistors are there, 1 by Rp is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3. LCM is R1 R2 R3. Here it is R2 R3 plus here it is R3 R1 plus here it is R1 R2 is equal to 1 by Rp. Therefore here Rp is equal to R1 R2 R3 by R2 R3 plus R3 R1 plus R1 R2. Like this we can find out the original or the effective resistance. Now we will see some observations in parallel combination of resistors. In parallel combination. First observation is 1 by Rp is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 and so on 1 by Rn. This is the equation to find out the effective resistance in parallel combination. The second observation is V is constant but I is variable. In series combination, it is exactly vice versa. I is constant and V is variable. There V is equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3. In parallel combination, I is equal to I1 plus I2 plus I3. V is constant because of the connection between the same potentials. Third one, this is very, very important. In parallel combination, the effective resistance is always less than the lowest individual resistance. The effective resistance in parallel combination is always less than the lowest individual resistance. What is the meaning of this? For this purpose, let me take two examples. Let us take R1 is equal to some 5 ohms, R2 is equal to some 6 ohms. I have grouped these two resistors in parallel combination. With respect to this, 1 by Rp is equal to 1 by 5 plus 1 by 6. Among 5 and 6, which is the least? 5 ohms. We should get the answer less than 5 ohms always in this combination. So, listen. What is the LCM for 5 and 6? 30. It is 6 plus 5, 1 by Rp. Therefore, 1 by Rp is equal to 11 by 30. Rp is equal to 30 by 11. The answer you will get 2.72 ohms. See, the effective resistance of parallel combination of 5 ohms and 6 ohms is some 2.72. What is this 2.72? It is less than the lowest of the combination. What is the lowest here? 5 ohms. Always it is true. We will see one more example to set the truth. I will take some R1 is equal to 2 ohms, R2 is equal to some 6 ohms. Again, 1 by Rp is equal to 1 by 2 plus 1 by 6. 6 is the LCM. 3 plus 1, nothing but 4 by 6 is 1 by Rp. With respect to this, Rp is equal to 6 by 4, nothing but 3 by 2, nothing but 1.5 ohms. So, the effective resistance of the parallel combination of 2 ohms and 6 ohms is 1.5 ohms. This 1.5 is less than 2. So, in any case, the effective resistance in parallel combination is less than the lowest individual resistance. Now, we will see one problem which is based on the grouping of resistors. The question is like this. The effective resistance of two resistors in series combination is 60 ohms. Means, if two resistors are connected in series, their effective resistance is 16 ohms. And 3 ohms in parallel combination. The same resistances are connected in series, their effective resistance is 3 ohms. In series 16 and in 3 ohms is parallel. Find the individual resistances. Let us take the individual resistances as R1 and R2. If these two resistors are connected in series, the effective resistance is 16 ohms. What is the rule in the series combination? Rs is equal to R1 plus R2. Therefore, Rs is equal to R1 plus R2 is equal to 16 ohms. Same R1 and R2 connected in parallel, its effective resistance is 3 ohms. Therefore, 1 by Rp is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 is equal to 3 ohms. So, therefore, 1 by 3 is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. Therefore, 1 by 3 is equal to R1 R2 into R1 plus R2 is equal to 1 by 3. Therefore, R1 R2 by R1 plus R2 is equal to 3. This is the effective resistance in the parallel combination. We know that R1 plus R2 is equal to 16 ohms from equation 1. Now I am substituting this R1 plus R2 value here. Therefore, R1 R2 by 16 is equal to 3. Therefore, R1 R2 is equal to 48. R1 plus R2 is equal to 16 ohms, and I can write R2 is equal to 16 minus R1. Therefore, R1 into 16 minus R1 is equal to 48. 16 R1 minus R1 square minus 48 is equal to 0. Therefore, R1 square minus 16 R1 plus 48 is equal to 0. And we can solve this equation by the middle term splitting method. R1 square, if you multiply this, you will get 48 R1 square. If you you should need two numbers. If you multiply it, you will get you should get 48 R1 square. If you add it, you should get minus 16 R1. So it will be like this: minus 12 R1 minus 4 R1 plus 48 is equal to 0. This 16 R1 was split into 12 and 4. Therefore, R1 is common, R1 minus 12 minus 4 is common, R1 minus 12 is equal to 0. Therefore, R1 minus 12 into R1 minus 4 is equal to 0. R1 is equal to 12 or R1 is equal to 4. If R1 is equal to 12, what about the R2? From R1 plus R2 is equal to 16, R2 is equal to 16 minus R1. Therefore, R2 is equal to 16 minus 12, 4 ohms. If R1 is equal to 4, R2 is equal to 16 minus 4, 12 ohms. Therefore, what is the pair? R1 is equal to 12, R2 is equal to 4. This is one pair. R2 is equal to 12 and R1 is equal to 4. So, what are the individual resistors? 4 and 12, or if in any combination, if you added that, you will get 16. If you combine in parallel combination, you will get 3 ohms. Now we will see the effective resistance equation when a combination of series and parallel both will exist. The combination is like this. Let us say this is R1, this is R2, this is R3. What is the effective resistance and effective voltage or effective current in this setup? Here R2 and R3 are in parallel combination, R1 is in series. So, first find out 1 by Rp is equal to 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3. So, what is the equation? R2, R3 is the LCM. You will get R3 plus R2 is equal to 1 by Rp. So, therefore, Rp is equal to R2 R3 by R2 plus R3. Now, we will see the effective resistance of whole combination. This part is this much, means the whole combination is simplified to this much. The combination of resistors is useful to simplify the circuit. That is the best use. So, therefore, Rs is equal to R1 plus Rp. Therefore, Rs is equal to, what is R1? R1 only. Rp is R2 R3 by R2 plus R3. Again, R2 plus R3 is the LCM. So, it is R1 into R2 plus R3 and this is R2 R3. Therefore, R effective is equal to R1 plus R3, therefore it is R1 R2 plus R1 R3 plus R2 R3 by R2 plus R3. This is the effective resistance of this type of combination. So we can say this Rp as R23 equation also. Means equivalent resistance of combination of R2 and R3. So this is the expression. So then what is the current passing through the whole circuit? V by R effective. So therefore I effective is equal to V by R effective means R1 R2 plus, if you take R3 as common, we can write R1 plus R2. This R2 plus R3 will go up. R2 plus R3. This is I effective in these T types of circuits. Now we will discuss about electric cell and the terms related to the electric cell. First of all, we will see what is electric cell. Electric cell. The most widely used electric cells are two types, dry cell and electrolyte cell. Electrolyte cell is a cell which contains an electrolyte solution and it contains two more rods. Those two rods act as an electrodes, anode and cathode. Whenever you connected this anode and cathode with the help of wire, then there is a possibility for the continuous flow of charge or electric current. That means what we can say about the electric cell. Electric cell is a device which maintains the continuous flow of charge or electric current by chemical reactions. It is a device which maintains the continuous flow of charge or electric current. By chemical reactions. This is the definition of the electric cell. Now we will see what is the construction of the electric cell and how it will work. Yes, we will take two metal plates which are oppositely polarized, and those two metal plates are fixed like this, and we can make a separate wall between them, a wall which can separate the two electrodes. It is very difficult to suspend these two electrodes which are of the metal rods like this. That's why we will pour some acid. This acid acts as an electrolyte solution. That's why this cell is called electrolyte cell. So this acts as a positive terminal of the cell. This acts as the negative terminal of the cell. These two are connected with a wire of some resistance. Whenever these two rods which are acting as electrodes in the electric cell, while they are dipped in the electrolyte solution, whenever these two connected, there is a possibility for the flow of charge. But how the power come to flow the charge? This electrolyte solution is the difference. This electrolyte solution is supplying the sufficient potential to transfer from one terminal of to the another terminal. That means this electrolyte solution is internally doing some chemical reaction to produce the required potential. So electrolyte solution is doing the chemical reaction. to produce required potential. That's why in the definition I mentioned electric current by chemical reactions. Which element is doing the chemical reaction? That electrolyte solution. This electrolyte solution, most widely used electrolyte solutions are acids. Mostly H2SO4. Acids acts as electrolyte solutions in the electrolyte battery. This electric cell contains three different characteristics. First one is EMF. Second one is internal resistance. Third one is power. Now we will go to the discussion of each and every one with some examples. Now we will see what is EMF. This is called electromotive force. This electromotive force is similar to the electric potential or potential difference in dry cells. In electrolytic cells, the cell is filled with electrolyte solution. This is called electromotive force. In dry cells, the potential difference is like this. So what is electromotive force? Initially, the scientist who discovered this thing, he said that it is a force required to pump one charged particle from one potential to the another potential, or one terminal to the another terminal. But later discoveries proved that it is not a force, it is the potential difference between the two terminals of a cell. How it will be look like? Listen. Whenever, if this is the structure of the cell, when two rods are connected with a wire, when it is filled in electrolyte solution, now there is an insulating wall which separates the two rods, which are nothing but the electrodes. We know that this is positive, this is negative. The potential of the positive electrode is equal to, we can write plus V plus. V is the symbol of the potential. This plus symbol refers about the positive potential. Same like, what is the potential of the negative electrode? Electrode. We can say it as minus V minus. Same, V is the potential symbol, minus represents the magnitude of the potential. Now I am going to find out the potential difference between the positive electrode to negative electrode. Potential difference between positive electrode to negative electrode. So we can write dV. dV is nothing but the difference in the potential, plus V plus minus of minus V minus. This minus into minus is plus, again plus V plus plus V minus. So this potential difference in an open circuit is called EMF. Potential difference between two terminals of a cell in an open circuit. The potential difference between two terminals of a cell in an open circuit. What is the meaning of open circuit? There is no current is flowing through this. That means no current. At the state of no current is called EMF. So the potential difference between two terminals of a cell in an open circuit, that means there is no current, is called EMF. The symbol of EMF is like this. So this is some theory about the EMF of the cell. It is electromotive force, nothing but the potential difference between the two terminals of the cell. Here we can say it as two electrodes of the cell. Now we will see internal resistance. Internal resistance, small r. In Ohm's law, resistance is represented by the capital R. Here, to eliminate the confusion, we are representing the internal resistance, small r. It is the standard notation by the Physical Society, Royal Physical Society. So whatever it may be, what is internal resistance? Again, just go back to the structure of the electrolyte cell. Positive electrode P, negative electrode N, separated by an insulating wall, but these two rods are dipped in electrolyte solution. These dots represent the electrolyte solution. Initially I mentioned this electrolyte solution is mostly acid, that to be H2SO4. Now, whenever the potential difference of a real source, is not equal to its EMF. What is the reason? Whenever these two electrodes are connected by any wire, maybe tungsten or nichrome or any connecting wire, whenever these two are connected, this electrolyte starts to produce the sufficient potential difference between the two terminals. Means this electrolyte does some chemical reaction to produce the sufficient potential. That means whenever charge flows through these two electrodes, they should overcome the resistance of the electrolyte solution. That means in an electrolyte cell or electric cell, this electrolyte solution offers the resistance. This potential has to overcome this resistance. This resistance is called internal resistance. So what is internal resistance? The resistance offered by an electrolyte solution in an electrolytic cell. Is called internal resistance. The symbol of the internal resistance is small r. Now we have discussed about the two terms, EMF, internal resistance. What is the relationship between this EMF, internal resistance, to the potential of the cell? Now we will see that. Next we will see the terminal potential difference of the electric cell. Terminal potential difference. What is the meaning of terminal potential difference? This terminal potential difference is related to the EMF and internal resistance. But how? First, see the definition of it. Terminal potential difference is nothing but the potential difference between the two terminals of a cell. Potential difference between two terminals in case of terminals, we can write electrodes also, or electrodes of a cell. Its symbol is V. Now this V is related to the EMF and internal resistance. The formula is like this. Now we will see the terminal potential difference, how it is related. Potential difference. Symbol of terminal potential difference is V is equal to EMF minus IR, means potential due to the internal resistance. The symbol of EMF is E minus IR. This is the terminal potential difference of a cell. But there is a possibility for the change in this sign. Whenever two cells of opposite poles are connected like this, then the symbol will be plus, because the charge transfers from positive to the negative. It will be continued, the forward direction. Whenever the grouping of cells, the same terminals are connected like this. Here it is the connection between the opposite terminals of two cells. Here it is the connection between the same potentials, the same terminals of the two cells. Negative and negative is connected. Or we can draw like this also. Positive and positive is connected. So whenever the connection between the same terminals are like poles or like terminals of a cell, then we can write E minus IR. Continue. Like this, if the negative to positive or positive to negative is connected between the two cells, then we can apply the plus symbol between this form. Then the formula will become like this. In this case, maybe the connection between the two like poles or like terminals, then the formula will become E minus IR. This is the information about the terminal potential difference, which relates to the EMF and internal resistance. Next we will see the power rating, how the power is dependent on the resistance of the cell. Now we will see the power and dependence of power on resistance. Power nothing but the power of electric cell. See, the construction is like this. We know that positive electrode, negative electrode fused in an electrolytic cell with the insulating walls. Next, this positive and negative, this whole is connected to a resistor. This is the positive terminal, this is the negative terminal, and this positive terminal is connected to a resistor, and the circuit is closed like this. Now let us say this positive potential is at a position A, this negative potential is at the position B. Whenever the charge carriers or the potential difference exists between P and N, it is nothing but the difference in the potential energies of the charge carriers between the two terminals. Before in the discussion of electrostatics or capacitance and its electrostatics, we have discussed that potential difference is nothing but the potential energy difference of a charge between two known positions. Such like that, charge is traveling from P to N. Thus like there is a potential difference exists between the terminals. So what will be the potential energy difference or potential difference? dV is equal to, we can write VB minus VA. If this is very small, we can write VB minus VA is also B. Then what is the potential energy stored between these two terminals, or what is the difference between the potential energies of these two terminals? Difference in potential energy of cell between two terminals. We know that V is equal to W by Q naught. From this we can write W is equal to VQ naught. Work done to keep the charged particles in steady position or rest position is stored in a form of potential energy. That means we can write W as U. That U is nothing but the potential energy is equal to VQ naught. Let us write Q naught is equal to capital Q. Let us write V is equal to VB minus VA. What is Q? It's a charge. So charge means where I is equal to Q by T, Q is equal to IT. Therefore, U is equal to VB minus VA into I into, we can write delta T. What is the meaning of delta T? That let us take the time taken to transfer the charges from P to N is delta T. Therefore, potential energy is equal to VB minus VA is V I delta T. This is U. This potential energy is nothing but the work done to transfer a charge from one terminal to the another terminal or one electrode to the another electrode. That means we can write, if this is the time delta T, we can write the work done is dW or delta W. Therefore, delta W is equal to VI delta T, delta W by delta T is equal to VI, work done per unit time, amount of work done maybe in the small magnitude to transfer the charges from one terminal to the another terminal or one electrode to the another electrode, mostly P to N, in unit time is governed by the power. The work done per unit time is nothing but the power. Therefore, power is equal to VI. But we should check the dependence of power on resistance. Here the power is directly proportional to the potential difference and amount of current. But what is the dependence and what is the relationship between the power and resistance, especially in an electrolyte cell? Now we will see. We know that P is equal to VI. What is VIR? It is nothing but the Ohm's law. Try to substitute this V value in this equation. Therefore, P is equal to, we can write IR into I square R. Means if the square of the current is constant in a wire or in a cell, then power is directly proportional to the resistance. When I is constant. And we will see the relationship of P and R with respect to the voltage also. Again we are saying P is equal to VI. We know that I is equal to V by R, nothing but one of the form of Ohm's law, V is equal to IR, where I is equal to V by R. Let me substitute this I is equal to V by R in this equation. Therefore, P is equal to V into V by R. We can write V square by R. It is nothing but the cell, that's why we can write VC square by R, and PC is equal to VC square by R. Here also we can write PC is equal to IC RC. C for cell. C means cell. Power of the cell, resistance of the cell, current passing through the terminals of the cell. So PC is equal to VC square by R. That means if voltage is constant, then the power through the cell or power of the cell is inversely proportional to its resistance. If V is constant, therefore PC is inversely proportional to resistance. Power of the cell is inversely proportional to the resistance of the elements which are used to construct the cell. Now, with this expression, we can understand why the high power transmission wires are very thick. How this is related? Let me see. Now we will see the mechanism of high power transmission wires. high power transmission wires. We know that PC is equal to VC square by R. With this, when V is constant, PC is inversely proportional to RC. Resistance is lowered, PC will increase. If resistance is more, PC will decrease. How? See the high power transmission wires, the wires which is like a bundle of many thick wires. It is like a loop. Thick wire has high resistance. Thick wire, higher area of cross section, and we know that R is inversely proportional to 1 by A. Therefore, area of cross section is more, R is less. See this equation and this equation. Higher area of cross section is there for the thick wires which are used to transmit the high power. We can see the service wires from station power stations to the substations and the transformers. We can see the wires which are connected to the transformers in a junction point. It is very thick when compared to our house wiring connection. The house wiring connection wires are very thin, but the wires which are connected to the transformers are very thick. Now we will see what is the difference between that. So we know that PC is 1 by RC. So R is inversely proportional to the area. Means if area is increased, R is less. If area is less, R will be more. So area is more for the thick wires, R will be less. So here what it implies? PC is more. That's why to transmit the high powers to the long distances without affected by any resistance offered by the material, they will use transmission wires of thick made. This is the explanation. Now we will see the grouping of cells in different ways. As like in the resistors, cells are also grouped in two ways, series and parallel. Grouping of cells. First one, series combination. Whenever two or more cells are connected in series, what will be its effective EMF and what will be its effective internal resistance, we are going to see now. Let us take two cells which are connected in series. This is the starting point A. After crossing the first cell, the point is B. After crossing the second cell, the point is C. Now I want to find out the potential difference between the points A and C. But between A and C, one point is there, B. That's why let me find out the potential difference between A and B first. Next B and C. The sum of these two will give the potential difference between A and C. Therefore, potential difference between the terminals A and B is equal to, we can write VAB. The formula is V at A minus V at B. But this cell has EMF E1 and internal resistance R1. Second cell has EMF E2, internal resistance R2. There is no charge here at A. No power or no cell or no potential is applied at A. So VA minus V1, VB, we can get E1 minus I R1. Then, what is the potential difference between the terminals B and C? Potential difference between the terminals B and C. Again it is VBC, VB minus V at C. At C also there is no potential, but between B and C one cell is connected, that is a cell of E2 EMF and R2 internal resistance. That means it will be E2 minus I R2. Now I want to find out VAC. VAC is nothing but VA minus VC. How to find out the VA minus VC? This equation 1 plus this equation 2. Like that we will get the potential difference between A and C. Now we will see the result. VA minus VB is E1 minus IR1. Let us say this is equation 1. Such like that VB minus VC is equal to E2 minus IR2. Let us say this is equation 2. Now I am adding the equations 1 and 2. On the right hand side we will get V of A minus V of B plus V of B minus V of C is equal to, on the left hand side this is expression. What is the right hand side expression? E1 minus IR1 plus E2 minus IR2. Now we will see minus VB plus VB get cancelled out. This is V of A minus V of C is equal to, we can write E1 plus E2 minus of I into R1 plus R2. What is VA minus VC? Nothing but the potential difference between the terminals A and C. Therefore, VAC is equal to E1 plus E2 minus of I into R1 plus R2. May I write E1 plus E2 is equal to E equivalent minus I into R equivalent. So what we can understand, when two cells are combined in series combination, their equivalent EMF will become the sum of individual EMFs. Their equivalent internal resistance will become the sum of individual internal resistances. So the rules will be like follows. Now we will see the rules in the series combination. We got E equivalent is equal to E1 plus E2, and R equivalent we got R1 plus R2. So what is the expression? Now see, the E equivalent is E1 plus E2. So what is the rule? The effective EMF in the series combination of cells is equal to the sum of individual EMFs. So E equivalent is equal to sum of individual EMFs, E1 plus E2. If it is for n cells, we can write up to so on En. That's it. Same is valid for the effective internal resistance also. So the second rule is like this: the effective internal resistance in the series combination of cells is equal to the sum of individual internal resistances. So R equivalent is equal to R1 plus R2. This is for 1, this is for 2. If it is there are n cells, we can write up to so on. Now we will see the parallel combination of two cells. So how it will look like? Yeah, there is a common point, one cell, parallelly with this one more cell. The junction, this is C, this is A, this is continue. So this is B1, this is B2. These are two cells which are connected in parallel. This is the first cell, contains E1 EMF, internal resistance R1. Second cell, E2 EMF, R2 internal resistance. Now what we should find out, this is the direction of current. Whenever I amount of current is touches the B2, it splits into two paths. In this direction it is I1, in this direction it will be I2. We know that in parallel combination of resistors or cells, I is equal to I1 plus I2. So first we will find out the I value. With respect to that we will get E and R both. Now please listen. What is the potential difference between B1 and B2 in the direction of first cell? PD between B1 and B2 in the direction of first cell is equal to, we can write E1 minus I1 R1 is nothing but the V of B1 minus V of B2. Next one, the potential difference between B1 and B2 in the direction of second cell. PD between B1 and B2 in the direction of second cell, that is equal to E2 minus I2 R2, that is nothing but V of B1 minus V of B2. So this is V, this is also V. We know that I is equal to I1 plus I2. For I is equal to I1 plus I2. What is the expression of I1 from this equation? This is 1, this is 2. From equation 1, what is the equation? V is equal to E1 minus I1 R1. I1 is equal to, from this, E1 minus V by R1. Similarly, I2 is equal to E2 minus V by R2. Now we are going to substitute this I1 and I2 values in this equation. Let us give one number to this equation, equation number 3. We know that I is equal to I1 plus I2. Now I am substituting this I1 and I2 values in the equation. Therefore, I is equal to, what is I1? E1 minus V by R1. What is I2? E2 minus V by R2. Now we can write E1 by R1 plus E2 by R2 minus of V into 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. Because R1 and R2 are the common elements, we can take them as a common and LCM. So this expression will become like this: E1 R2 plus E2 R1 by R1 R2 minus V into R2 plus R1 by R1 R2. So what is this one? E equivalent. This one R equivalent. With respect to that, we will get the I equivalent. Therefore, E1 R2 plus E2 R1 by R1 R2 is equal to E equivalent. The short form of the E equivalent is E1 by R1 plus E2 by R2. Next, this one is R equivalent. This is 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2, right? So R equivalent is equal to R1 R2 by R1 plus R2. So this is 1 by, this is R equivalent is equal to R1 R2 by R1 plus R2. 1 by R equivalent is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2, that is equal to R2 plus R1 by R1 R2. With these two expressions, we are going to find out the current of the circuit which is flowing through the cells. Now we will see the resultant potential of the two cells which are connected in parallel. We know that I is equal to E1 minus V by R1 plus E2 minus V by R2. This expression is E1 by R1 plus E2 by R2 minus V of 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 is equal to I. This expression gives E1 R2 plus E2 R1 whole divided by R1 R2 is the expression, minus V into R2 plus R1 by R1 R2 is equal to I. Now I am finding the V value. So how we will find out the V value? This whole will come here and I will go there. So this is E1 by R1 plus E2 by R2 minus I. This I is coming here. This minus V into this R2 plus R1 by R1 R2 will go to the left hand side. This is V into R2 plus R1 by R1 R2. Now we will find out the V like this. Therefore V is equal to E1 R2 plus E2 R1 by R1 R2 whole divided by R2 plus R1 by R1 R2. Minus I into I whole divided by R2 plus R1 by R1 R2. This will go up. This R1 R2, this R2 plus R1 by R1 R2 goes up. Then R1 R2 and R1 R2 get cancelled out. So the expression for V is E1 R2 plus E2 R1 by R1 plus R2 minus I into R1 R2 by R1 plus R2. This is the expression for potential. Now we will see the Kirchhoff laws. Before going to discuss about the Kirchhoff laws, what is the need of these Kirchhoff laws to analyze the circuits? Before, up to now, we have discussed the combination of cells, combination of resistors. Means resistors are connected to the resistors, cells are connected to the cells. Whenever, if resistors and cells are connected in any way, maybe in a loop style or maybe in a junction style, maybe like a circuit, what will be the effective voltage and what will be the effective resistance of the circuit? Because resistors and resistors are connected, that means it is an easy circuit. Cells are connected, only cells are connected in series or parallel, that is an easy circuit. Complex circuits. What is the meaning of complex circuits? Whenever two or more electrical devices are connected, maybe in series or maybe in parallel, maybe like a junction or maybe like a loop, it is very difficult to analyze that. We can analyze only resistors are connected in series or parallel, only cells are connected in series or parallel. If resistors and cells are connected in any way, that circuits are called as complex circuits, means analysis of those circuits is very complex, very complicated. So to analyze these complicated circuits, to make the easy of these complicated circuits, we should use two laws. Those are said to be Kirchhoff laws. The shape of the Kirchhoff's laws will be like this. So Kirchhoff's laws are useful to analyze the complex circuits. These Kirchhoff's laws are two types. One is junction rule, second one is loop rule. Junction rule. We know that if at a traffic signal, it's a four roads corner, two are in and two are out. All will gather at one junction. With respect to that, they will disperse from that common point. So junction means some inflow is there and some outflow is also there. That is about the roadside nature of the traffic. We can imply the same thing in the current also. What is the meaning of junction rule? The algebraic sum of currents which are entering towards a junction is equal to the junction current leaving. So, what is the expression of the junction rule? So, what is the junction rule? Let us take two conducting wires. The current through this first conducting wire is I1, current through this second conducting wire is I2. Now current leaving is let us say I3. Now the current leaving, let us say, is I4. What we can understand from this junction, see, this is the junction point O. With respect to O, I1 current is coming and it is going or leaving the junction in a form of I3. I2 is coming, leaving in a form of I4. So what is the junction rule in Kirchhoff's laws? Yes, now means we are making a complex circuit in a form of junction. So with respect to the given junction, the rule will be like this. The sum of the currents entering the junction, at any junction, the sum of the currents entering the junction is equal to the sum of the current leaving the junction. At any junction, the sum of the currents entering the junction is equal to the sum of the currents leaving the junction. So sum of the currents entering the junction is equal to the sum of the currents leaving the junction. Therefore, what are the amounts of current entering to the junction O? I1 and I2. So what is the sum? I1 plus I2. That is equal to the sum of the currents leaving the junction. Therefore, I3 plus I4. This is also called the algebraic sum of the currents which are with respect to a junction is 0. Therefore, I1 plus I2 minus I3 minus I4 is equal to 0. Algebraic sum of currents at any junction is equal to 0. We can say this form is like this also. Next one is loop rule. Next Kirchhoff rule is loop rule. What is the loop rule? Means resistors and cells are connected in a loop structure, means we are minimizing the construction of those in a loop way. So what is the loop structure rule? It will be like this. The algebraic sum of the potentials around any loop which includes resistors and cells is equal to 0. The algebraic sum of all potentials around any closed loop which includes resistors and cells is 0 is equal to 0. The construction of resistors and cells we are making as a loop, or we are simplifying to loop structure, and around the algebraic sum of all potentials around any closed loop which includes resistors and cells is equal to 0. That means we can say summation of or sigma V is equal to 0. Vi or I is equal to 1 to n. This is the expression for the loop rule. Now we will see one problem which relates to the Kirchhoff rule, how the current will be divided into two directions, how will you find out the values. Now we will see the application of Kirchhoff's law. See the problem and we will try to understand the circuit. Two cells of EMF 2 volts and 1 volts. It is 2 volts and it is 1 volt. And of internal resistances 1 ohm and 2 ohms. And of internal resistances 1 ohm and 2 ohms. Respectively have their positive terminals connected by a wire of 10 ohms resistances. Okay. Positive wires are connected to a 10 ohms resistances and their negative terminals by a wire of 4 ohms resistances. So another 2 coil of 10 ohms is connected between the middle points. So these two R3 and R4 are in series, therefore we can write as 4 ohms of negatives. These R1 and R2 are of positive connected to the ends of positives. They are in series and they are connected to the effective resistance of 10 ohms. Another coil of 10 ohms is connected to the middle of the circuit, between the middle points of these wires. Find the potential difference across the 10 ohms resistance. To see the circuit, it seems to be complicated. This is E1, effective resistance R1, E2, effective resistance R2. Negative terminals are connected to the 4 ohms resistance R3 and R4, 2 ohms and 2 ohms. Positive terminals are connected to the 2 R1 and R2, that is nothing but 5 ohms and 5 ohms. In the middle, a 10 ohms resistor is connected, and what will be the potential difference across the 10 ohms resistance? How will you solve this problem? Yes. To solve this problem, first we should understand what is the direction of current through all these resistors. Listen, E1 is here. Current always transfers from positive to negative. This is the positive end, and by taking this direction, it will reach the negative. That means I1 through R1 also it is I1. Through R also it is I1, but I2 will be added and we will see the addition afterwards. I1. Next, through R3 also I1 and it reaches to the negative terminal, right? That's why it is I1. This is the cycle of I1. So like this. See the E2? Positive terminal is here. That means here it is E2, I2. Through R2 also it is I2. And this is the common junction, right? Means I2 also transfers in this direction like this. So let me draw the direction of the I1. Let me draw the direction of I2. And here also let me write the direction. See here, I1 and I2 directions are same at the middle point, which is nothing but through the resistor 10 ohms. That means this whole will become I1 plus I2. This is very, very important. So I1 plus I2, through R4 also it is I2. Then through R2 also it is I2. Now we can understand this whole circle belongs above this 10 ohms, this is up to the I1 mark. Below this 10 ohms, it is up to the I2 mark. So what will be the direction of current, we can understand. And what will be the EMF are equal to? EMF V is equal to E minus IR. So listen, I1, this I1 into R1 plus this I1 into capital R1 plus I1 plus I2 into capital R plus I1 into R3 is equal to E1. What is I1? What is small r1? What is capital R1? What is I1 plus I2? Now we are going to substitute.